ready? Yo, welcome to the house again, Miss Rachel Stacy!
Damn, baby. Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
That's your girl.
That's my girl.
That's your girl right there, Miss Rachel Stacy, who will be live in studio tomorrow night.
Woohoo!
Rachel Graham tonight, Rachel Stacy tomorrow night.
Week of Rachel.
And then we're going to end it with the great Judge Jennifer Bennett.
Okay.
The great Judge Jennifer Bennett, who that's my girl. That's my girl, Judge Jennifer Bennett. Welcome to the show. Are you ready? Gather round, gather round, gather round, clowns. Michael Molthan, M2TheRock. We're coming to you live on Tuesday night. D-Town, baby, from the DFW Coin and Jewelry, the home of M2TheRock. What do you think about the new studio?
Oh, love it.
Isn't this awesome?
It. Yes, it's perfect.
DFW Coin and Jewelry. See, I'm sporting the big bling bling. Now I have to put it back when I'm done. But he said, "Hey, put this on. Let them see that." So here we go. And then I put it back. I promise you, I put it back as soon as we're done. I can't. It makes me nervous. So
I'm nervous sitting next to you.
Yes, I know it. So home of M2TheRock, brought to you by Healing Springs Ranch. Healing Springs Ranch. There it is, right there. And we are on the 900th floor, overlooking Dallas, Texas. All right, I always say this. We work an honest program. We're not, but this is Dallas, Texas, Healing Springs Ranch, 1 hour north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, just right up the tollway, out in Tioga, Texas, horse country.
It is
horse country. And what we got, north of 60 acres up there?
Oh, 80, yeah.
80 acres. There we go, 80 acres of incredible oh, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
So.
And in studio today, we have the great Rachel Graham, owner, co-founder of Healing Springs Ranch, and we got some great stuff to talk about today.
We do. Some exciting stuff.
I'm so excited. We got a lot. We got a fun week coming up, and you and I have been busy all day.
Are you going to tell them what we're doing this week?
I am going to tell them what we're going to do because I'm teasing it just a little bit because I need everyone in the comments right now. Number one, if you're watching this, you need to share this out. Okay, we got to share this out because we're delivering a message of hope. And so when we get a message of hope, you never know who's sitting just kind of perusing around. They see Rachel Stacy, they go, wow, they go, boom. And then they hear us talk about drug addiction. We talk about alcoholism. We talk about hurts, habits, and hang-ups. We talk about trauma. The great Melissa Engel was here last week and was talking about trauma and pain. And we educate the public on what is addiction. And we also educate the public on solutions to addiction. And that's what's so exciting about this show. And we got, like I said, Rachel Graham here tomorrow night. Real quick, in all seriousness, Rachel Stacy will be in studio. 8 years of recovery, 13 years of Al-Anon.
Awesome. That's awesome.
God help me. But she'll be in studio for the very first time in the new studio to share her excitement about what we're going to talk about tonight. And then the great Judge Jennifer Bennett and Rebecca Rebecca. Oh my God, I just went blank. But her name's Rebecca, and she is going to be in studio with Judge Jennifer Bennett on Thursday, and we are both graduates from the DDC court in Dallas County.
Okay.
So we got to check that out. Rachel, what the heck? First of all, who are you, and why did you invest in a treatment center?
Whoa. Well, you know, what I didn't know when you're bringing up a treatment facility, it's like bringing up a restaurant, a hotel, and a resort at the same time.
Right.
You know, and add the hospital piece of that in there.
Right.
So it's quite the endeavor, but it's a labor of love for me. And it's directly because of a situation I went through with a family member. And I saw some of the poor quality care out there, and I was angry, quite frankly. And so I decided I could be a force for change. I could sit there and waller in it and be a victim of it,
right,
or I could be a force for change. So that's what I chose to do with my time and energy and put it in here and really rattle some cages in this industry on the way treatment is delivered and some of the top grading that needs to be done to elevate how we're looking at this, how we're treating people, and really and truly what I thought is really missing is the purpose work.
What do you mean by purpose work?
You can get someone sober. You can get someone in a situation where they can even, they're in treatment and they're going to be sober because you're monitoring what's going on. But the reality of it is if you don't get to the underlying trauma first and foremost,
yes,
root cause, and then you don't help them figure out, what am I supposed to be doing with all this? Why am I on this planet? What am I supposed to be doing with the skills that I have, the adversities that I've been through, those types of things? And so if we can help someone understand more about themselves, once we can get them sober and they can see their personality, see how they communicate, learn about what their God-given talents are, and then figure out what they're supposed to do with their story to live a very purposeful life. Because that's what I'm doing.
That's exactly right. And you said a key word, purpose. What is our purpose in life? And at Healing Springs Ranch, that's what we do, is we find our purpose. As a recovering drug addict, alcoholic, Rachel, for so long, I would get so angry because I didn't know why I was doing the things I did. I spent so much time watering the leaves of the tree, wondering why the tree kept dying, right? And you say that we get to the root of the problem, we get to the trauma, and this is a dangerous quote, but it's true. Alcohol's not my problem. I'm the problem. And we get to the root problem, and Healing Springs does that with the great team that y'all have. You're a busy owner. I mean, you travel a lot, you speak a lot, you're passionate, you're on the other side of recovery. We call you the normie.
The normie.
You've been affected by addiction. But I love your passion. You and Melissa and John and the staff, y'all's passion for recovery. Why are you so passionate about this?
I when I look at my own skills and talents and, do look at my personality type, the things that I'm really good at, it's dealing with people and connecting with people. And one of the things that I, as a manager in corporate America, I could see the potential in someone before they could. So how do I use that to be a force for change? Of course, then I have a family story that I go through. I get involved in this industry, and I said, I look at these people, and I can see things in them before they can even see it. And when you start helping someone discover the possibilities of the things that they can do and the real skills that they have and how they can channel that and use that for a force for good, that to me is the fuel for the jet. When I see someone actually figure it out and then deploy that and go on and do great things, for me, it's like it's all worth it. Every day, getting on every plane, flying 200,000 air miles a year. I mean, it's crazy what I do, but I speak to raise the awareness and to remove the shame and stigma around it. I think the most important thing that I would tell people is that it could be any one of us. So to sit there in judgment and say something about someone who's, drinking and someone who's drugging, those types of things, it could be any one of us given the right set of circumstances, so to speak.
Awesome. And you have your own group. What is going on right here? Let me get this fixed right here. Ready?
That one's
Ready?
alfalfa things.
You have your own group at Healing Springs Ranch.
I do.
And you actually, the clients come in. Tell us about your group that you run. I cannot wait to sit in it.
So, we call it LIT. It's a play on
Lit.
getting lit together.
Okay.
But it's leaders in training.
Okay, leaders in training.
Melissa came up with that name.
Okay.
So I have to credit her. Props to Melissa for that. But it's really putting a new spin on the whole concept of getting lit together. And the idea is that I bring to the clients different programs and teachings and learnings and assessments and those types of things that are used out in corporate America to facilitate teams. If you think about it, leadership development and recovery are very closely aligned.
Yeah.
It's about making a choice to do something different to get a different outcome.
That's right. And it's not that recovery is not about getting good. It's about getting well. We're smart people.
Yeah.
We are very smart
Some
people.
of the brightest in the world.
And when we go to a residential treatment center, we shame ourselves to death. I did. I would shame myself going, man, you're trash. I mean, how can you just give up your entire future? And I love what I hear you saying about your group is you bring them hope. Saying, hey, you are worthy. This is your purpose. Let's get you clean. Let's get you healthy. Let's get you refocused on your future, right?
Yep. And I believe everybody has a purpose. And many people go through life never figuring it out. And they live very unfulfilled lives. They work I call it a JOB, you know?
Yes.
And the JOB is very unfulfilling. You might pay the bills. You might be able to do it. You might actually do it well, but it doesn't excite you.
Right.
You know, my job is to help you figure out what you'll get up at 4 a.m. to go do without an alarm clock.
And it's neat that feeling of going to bed and being excited to wake up the next day.
Yeah.
Which we call hope. You know, and I used to try to create hope with chemicals, and today it's different, you know. Now, you shared something with me before the show that you actually had the clients in your group Lit today help you write a speech. Is that correct?
I did.
You actually
did.
You ran your speech by them, and you actually let them give you input. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I don't know if we're telling what
I'm teeing you up.
Okay,
I'm
all
teeing you
right.
up. Get
Want
in
me to
there.
tell you?
Get in there. You get in there.
All right. Well, this weekend I'm doing a TEDx talk.
Now let me stop you. TEDx. What is that?
Well, so many of you have seen that. They're usually short clips, 15-minute clips that actually pack some sort of very intentional message behind it. They range from business topics to health to all different types of things. And so it's one of those things that you have to get nominated and apply for and go through. And so I'm very excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is a huge deal. So we're making the announcement right now. Rachel Graham this weekend will be a speaker at TED Talk at TEDx in Charleston, Charleston?
Yeah, well, Charleston, in Andrews.
In Andrews,
is the venue.
South Carolina. And we're coming in there hot. We're coming in there deep. So who's all going?
Wow, you and my girl Rachel. Whoa,
That's right. So we got M2,
yeah.
Rachel,
You gotta
Stacy.
add the excitement.
Yes.
It's always a party with you two. You
That's
know?
right.
So you'll bring that part of it. But several of the staff members are coming. I've tried to take a crew with me to this one, and then when we line up the next one, bring a different group so they get the experience to see what it's like to do something like this. You know, I've spoken all over the world. I've spoken to small audiences, to large audiences, and for the first time, I'm nervous.
What do you? So
I'm saying it.
Why are you
get
nervous?
over it, the nervousness.
Why are you nervous?
I'm putting it out in the universe. It's gonna go away.
So give us a sneak peek, because TED Talk, it's very well known, very well known. They do have their rules and parameters. So just to let y'all know, we'll be going live from the airport. We're gonna be going live on the plane. Rachel Stacy's gonna be doing your makeup and getting you all primped up and doing your hair. Probably should be doing some singing, and it's gonna be so much fun. And John Edmondson and Chris and Melissa and Lorna, and it's great because the state of Texas is going to let me travel. So we're going to have a great time. It's going to be lit.
Yes,
Pun intended. It's going to be lit, and we're going to have so much fun. But it's so what are you going to talk about? I mean, kind of give us a tease of your story, because you kind of driving. I was leaving Healing Springs Ranch, and you called me, and you started telling me this incredible story. Okay, and I said, Rachel, time out, stop. I said, stop. I want to hear this on the show. Is that what you're going to talk about?
So, well, that's kind of, it leads into it.
Right.
Really, the main focus of my talk is to really create an environment for families to understand that you have a role in your loved one's recovery.
Good.
That you don't take someone to treatment, drop them off, and say, see ya, you know?
Right.
And you don't do anything to assist and to create a different environment. You know, clearly we all have a role in all of this, and we need to do the work to create a different type of environment. I mean, again, that's growth, right? So I want to speak to the families and help them understand and help them really understand the dynamic behind addiction and really what it is and what it's not, first and foremost, but then to recognize that this is a perfect opportunity for you to put the mirror in front of your own face and figure out what are some things I can change and what are some of the wounds that my family has that continue to perpetuate on.
Good stuff.
You know?
Yeah,
So-
because it's a family disease, right?
And a lot of people don't realize that the
Yeah.
whole family, someone told me once, I think it was one of the gals at our office, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
That's right. That's exactly right. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And so you'll be sharing that, educating, you're using your own personal experience, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today,
Yeah.
and how you're living your life today. Kind of the 3 steps of delivering that speech. You're going to do great because you got a great story and you deliver a lot of hope. Rachel Graham, co-owner, founder, owner, boss lady. I got 2 bosses in my life. I got Rachel Graham and I got Rachel Stacy. I don't know what to do with all that. When we come back, more with Rachel Graham on M2TheRock. Be right back.
Healing Springs Ranch is designed for people that really want to come and do the work and not just work on their addictive behaviors, but going deeper and finding the underlying issues and sharing them, and oftentimes for the first time sharing them out loud, kind of dumping out everything that's holding you back. And in the process, what we try to do is nurture and heal that particular wound while they're here. We really wanted this to be a transformative experience for people, not just a drying out place or a place where they go and check off a box. We truly wanted this to be an opportunity for everyone to take a pause in their life and figure out what they need to do to go live their purpose. So we're very passionate about folks finding purpose and meaning to why they exist, and finding ways to utilize that purpose and meaning for them to go on and actually have a more successful and happier life.
Welcome back. Michael Molthan, M2TheRock, coming to you live from the DFW Coin and Jewelry Studio. You met Kristen Oyster.
I did.
Yeah, he's a lay worker. Worker. Kristen Oyster is, we love him so much. Thank you so much for everything that he does for us. The official studio of M2TheRock, brought to you by Healing Springs Ranch. And we have a special announcement coming up later in the show about M2TheRock and Healing Springs Ranch. So it's going to be awesome. So y'all don't go anywhere. We got a great announcement. Rachel Graham live tonight. We got Rachel Stacy tomorrow night, and then Judge Jennifer Bennett Thursday night. And then we are leaving Friday for South Carolina for the TEDx, is it called a convention or whatever?
Yeah, we're going to TEDx venue.
TEDx venue. And how many people are speaking?
I think there's like maybe 10
Wow.
or so. And so they have a pledge class, if you will, of folks. And
this is a
they'll have
big deal.
stacked.
This is, I want everybody to understand, this is a big deal. You just don't, sign a piece of paper and say, yeah, come on in and tell your story. And everybody's got a story, okay? But this is a big deal. I mean, you really got to have the credentials and to qualify and to be able to deliver a story. How long are you going to be speaking?
So 15 minutes.
Okay.
And the theme of the whole program is Manifest Destiny.
Oh.
So I'm going to tie this into manifesting your own destiny, by working through the recovery piece of that, especially for the family members, that they can go on and live a very different life. I'm living a very different life as a result of the recovery work I had to do. And I'm teaching the families that recovery for them might look different than recovery for their loved one, but they still have work to do.
Absolutely. So we were talking earlier today about the topic. The topic of what we're going to talk about, which is so powerful. And, we talk about addiction. And the opposite of addiction is connection.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So we as humans, we're wired for connection. We're wired for community.
Right.
And oftentimes when you see someone struggling with a compulsive or addictive pattern, you'll see them isolate. And that's one of the first indicators when you see someone that's maybe going down the path again or going into a relapse or something like that, a slip of some sort. And so we believe and we promote the concept of community and connection. And that's in everything we do up there, even beyond, and our alumni are connected to each other. So it's important to us. And it's about reconnecting to family, too. Some of these families have been damaged by different things that go on. And so how do we repair these relationships so that you can reconnect with that?
Community and fellowship is so powerful in the connection. So what is like when you deliver this message on connection, what is kind of your main points that you'll be discussing on that that someone can take away from you? You said the word acceptance earlier today. That's a powerful word.
That actually came from one of the clients
That's
today.
right. That's awesome.
So I was sitting there in my speech. This was really cool. I actually ran my speech by my clients today, and I said, pick it apart. What do I need to add? What do I need to change? And I had compassion and forgiveness on there. And one of the clients said, you need acceptance on there. and acceptance that you can't change some things that have already happened.
Right.
You know?
Right.
History's not going to change.
Right.
You know, so you get to a point where you just have to accept it and move forward.
And the great thing is that when I'm working with the clients there too, we talked about acceptance in our group, the M2TheRock group, is that true acceptance has no resentments. That's what true acceptance is. I just got to accept it the way that it is,
Right.
you know, and that's a big part of it. You talked about a story. I really want you to share this story that you talked about on the plane flight, a recent
Yeah.
plane. Is it recent plane flight?
Yeah, well, it was in the last 2 years.
Okay.
And this is something I encourage people to do. Too often we're running around with our AirPods in our ears and looking at our phone and doing all kinds of stuff, and we're not really paying attention to the world around us. And so I was guilty of that. I got on a flight. I was flying from here to New Orleans, which is about an hour and 10, 15 minute flight, something like that.
That's against the wind.
Yeah, and it was, you know, it was one of those things. I was getting on a plane. My mother was dying of pancreatic cancer, and so we knew she was terminal. And I'm going, not knowing if this is going to be the last time I see my mother. So I get on the plane, and I pop in my AirPods. I'm listening to my music on my phone, and I got upgraded. Okay, so I was in coach. I got upgraded to first class. So I moved to my seat and I sit down, and here comes this guy on the plane. He comes turning around the corner, and he's fidgety. He's doing all this,
Right.
and he's, you know, all over the place. And I'm sitting there going, okay, here's the judgment. He's going to sit next to me. I just
Please
know
don't-
he's
please
gonna
don't
be
sit
sitting
next to me. Please don't sit next to me.
So
Yeah.
sure enough,
Bam.
he comes and he said, that's my seat. And I thought, oh, okay. So he's sitting there and he's still doing this, trying to put his seatbelt on and doing all this. And meanwhile, all that energy is coming at me sitting here. I can feel it radiating over. And at one point, I just had to stop because I could feel his energy. So I took the AirPods out and I turned to him and I said, dude, what are you on?
You just said that point blank.
I mean, I knew he had to be on something.
You called him out.
Yeah. And
okay.
he looked at me and he goes, meth.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Meth.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
he
God.
said, meth. And I said, oh, and he goes, how did you know?
God, doing meth on a plane already makes me anxious.
So, yeah, so he was fidgety. So we start talking. I tell him what I do for a living. And so he was telling me a little bit of his story. And this is something, I hope he's watching this. Because
Yeah.
if he is, I hope he reaches out to you.
Yeah.
Because I would love to hear from this man.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. So I said to him, why are you going to New Orleans? And he goes, I'm going on one last bender before I take my own life.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there, oh, this just got real. This plane flight just got real.
Right.
And I said, well, I'm going to New Orleans to see my mother who's dying. She doesn't have a choice. She has terminal cancer. She's going to die. And I don't know if this is the last time I will see her. And I said, but she'd give anything to be in your spot, to have a choice in the
Wow.
matter. And so then I turned to him and I said, who hurt you? Boom, tears.
So you said, who hurt you? You didn't say, why are you doing meth like
Yeah.
everybody does? Why would you ruin your life? Why would you do that? Who hurt you?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And he started crying, and
Wow.
he started telling me, he said, I was sexually molested as a child, and I'm the only person this has ever happened to, and I is a male. He said, I'm very embarrassed to tell people that. And I said, you know, I'm going to tell you something. There's statistics out there that suggest 1 in 6 men have been sexually molested, but the number's probably actually higher because that's what may be reported.
Right.
And a lot of people aren't going to report that.
Right.
So he said, really? So we start talking about it. We start talking about how he's medicating the pain of that particular circumstance, and he's sobbing. And all I need to do was hug this man. I didn't even know this guy.
Wow.
And I just give him this hug, and he's sobbing. The flight attendants could see something was going on.
There was a connection.
Yeah. And so what we talked the whole rest of the flight. He calmed down. He got himself back together. And so we're getting off the plane, and he goes to the ticket counter. He goes, I'm not doing this. I'm going back. So
What do you
he's
mean going
flying
back?
to Dallas.
Wow.
So in New Orleans, he was turning around and come back. And I said something to him. I said, you know something? I was not supposed to be in that seat. I got upgraded.
Wow.
And you know what he said to me? Neither was I.
Wow.
So tell me that is just coincidental.
That's a G thing. We call that on this show. That's a G thing.
Yeah.
That's a God deal. And you know, we talk about this. Terry Bentley Hill, the official defense criminal attorney of M2TheRock. I know you've seen her on the show a bunch. She's been on the show for the last 2 years. And Terry Bentley Hill has started this campaign, hashtag Stop Minding Your Business. Okay, you know, stop minding your own business is what it is, and that's what you did right there. You reached out. I love what you said to him. What happened? Is that what you said?
Who hurt you?
Who hurt you? Who hurt you? What a great lead-in to that. He has to answer that question.
And he did so beautifully, and he was so vulnerable, and you could tell for the first time, maybe he felt like he had safety to open up. Like, you're going to get me. You know, I know what you do now. You're going to get me. You're going to understand. And what I told him is, you know, this could happen to any of us.
Right.
You know, we all have trauma. We all have things that we go through. And so it was just, for me, it was one of those moments that reminds me to get the AirPods out of your ear and connect with people around you.
As opposed to the negative energy and just getting in a hole or asking the stewardess to move and all that. And you did the next right thing, and that was show them love. You know, you just showed him love, and you turned the energy into something good. I hope he is watching. If you are watching, message me, and let's make sure that you're getting some help and some long-term recovery, and so we can work through this trauma. We talk a lot about the 12 steps on M2TheRock, you know, and the 12 steps are great tools to address the trauma. You know, we look at the trauma. We look in step 4. We do a moral inventory, and we look at this stuff, and we look at what role we played in it. You know, what role. You know, when I have a resentment, Rachel, that means I play a role in it. That's why I have a resentment. And so I have to look at that. And I'll never forget that, you know, like, wait a minute. I was molested, all right? And you're telling me I have a role in it? And my sponsor said, yes, I am telling you have a role in it. I said, okay, what's my role? He says, you haven't forgiven them. You know, you haven't forgiven them. That's the role you're playing in it. You're choosing to hold on to the resentment. And that made sense to me. You know, the light went off, and I was able to, you know, to process that and do it better because of connection, talking to another alcoholic and addict that's worked through the steps. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the great news that we have coming up, and let's talk a little bit about Healing Springs Ranch. You know, what we offer there, and we'll go from there. So we got a great commercial here. I think y'all might hold on a second. I'm right-handing this thing, so let's see if I can get this in here. We'll be right back. Michael Molthan, M2TheRock.
And I have 27 mugshots as a result of drug addiction and alcoholism. Because of my choices to choose to stay in the disease has cost me everything. I've lost my family, I've lost my company, I've gone bankrupt.
Less than a year ago, Michael Molthan was a different person.
On 7/7/17, I had a spiritual supernatural bright light moment awakening while incarcerated in Dallas County Jail, and surrendered my life to God and Jesus Christ, who I call him today.
3 months ago, after his awakening moment, he was accidentally released from jail.
The judge said that obviously there's someone bigger than me working in your life. I don't want to get in the way. I would like for you to put together a self-correct program and go pay it forward.
Gather round. I said gather round, baby.
And I've been on a mission and on a journey that God has directed me on to go help others. I no longer want to be, well known. I no longer want to be a big home builder. I no longer want to keep up with the Joneses. So I use my spiritual gifts, and that's my voice. That's my passion towards recovery.
Now, as the host of M2TheRock Radio, he's reaching out to others to share his story.
Where we talk about drug addiction, alcoholism, hurts, habits, and hang-ups. We're not bad people. This show is not about getting good. This show is all about getting well. It's raw, it's real, it's uncut. We got great guests. I mean, it's the truth.
Between messages, thanking him and asking for help, he says the answer for him is simple.
What's different this time is forgiveness. And true acceptance has no resentments. That's the number one offender that everybody relapses back and goes back on.
He has a message for those watching or listening right now.
So for the one who is out there that's suffering, I challenge you, you can do it by yourself. Social media is great. Find someone, listen to their story, okay? Listen for the similarities, not the differences. This disease, it's cunning, it's baffling, it's powerful, and here's the scary thing, it's patient.
That's exactly right. This disease is patient. Very patient. Cunning, baffling, powerful, patient. Welcome back. Michael Molthan, M2TheRock, coming to you from the DFW Coin and Jewelry Studio, the home of M2TheRock, brought to you by the great Healing Springs. 1 hour north residential treatment. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Is, yep.
Residential treatment in Tioga, Texas, in horse country, Randy Travis country, Gene Autry. In fact, Rachel Stacy's very good friends with the Travis family. So we'll have to, and then in horse country and motocross country and all sorts of stuff. Beautiful. We You're up there today racing around. I'll be up there Thursday morning doing group, M2TheRock group. And for everyone that wants to know what I do for Healing Springs Ranch on Thursdays, I come there at 10:45 and do a group from 10:45 to noon. And then I eat lunch. The great Chef Corey. Does he ever have a bad day?
No.
That
He
guy
always has a smile.
I mean, and the hugs. I mean, what the most incredible man, Chef Corey. I got you. I love you, brother. We're gonna get you on the show very soon because he's a huge part of Healing Springs Ranch. Yes. And then we go into our group from 1 to 2 o'clock on Thursdays, where we talk about 12 steps and we work on that. So that's what Healing Springs Ranch is. Real quick, why don't you kind of lay out the brochure of Healing Springs Ranch and what you offer and how it all works?
Yeah. So as you mentioned earlier, we're a 28-bed facility in Tioga, Texas. We specialize in something a little different than what the average treatment facility looks at. So we're doing the recovery work aspects of this, but then we're also bridging addiction, mental health, and trauma.
Wow.
So looking at all three of those concurrently and trying to figure out what we can do to help someone untether themselves from the demons they're wrestling with.
And so for someone who's watching this and we get a lot of loved ones going, you know what, I would love for my loved one who's struggling with the disease of just for conversation, alcoholism, drug addiction, to get out there. And I don't know anything about this. What does a day-to-day activity look like at Healing Springs?
So we have very, very comprehensive curriculum. So in the mornings, we try to do educational aspects, and then the afternoons, we try to do some sort of experiential. So there's nothing better than talking about an emotion like anger is a good one. Understanding anger. Anger can be a good emotion for you to have. You know,
What do you mean by that? I haven't heard that. Anger can be a good emotion?
It actually can fuel you to make some changes that you need to make.
Okay.
You know, so,
right.
But rage is not healthy.
No.
You know? And unresolved anger that you're carrying around and misdirecting at other people, that's not okay either.
Right.
But then what better way to do that when you're teaching someone what emotions they're feeling, allow them to experience it in the safety of an environment where you have clinical teams and different folks that can help them work through that. So the design is that we teach you and then we show you, if that makes sense.
And what does show you mean? What does that look like?
Show you would be just allowing them the opportunity to do different things like the equine therapy or psychodrama, you know, those types of things where we're allowing the release of that and for them to be able to totally experience whatever it is we're talking about for that given day or that week.
So equine therapy is horses, and I did that once. I attended that.
How'd you like it?
I loved it. I learned so much about it because I didn't realize. And it really did help me because I didn't realize that horses feel energy. And so if I walk into a horse stable and I'm amped up, really struggling with a lot of anxiety, anger, and all that stuff, the horse feels that and doesn't want to be around me. So do humans. You know, so do humans. And my Rachel Stacy, sometimes she has said that. She goes, I feel the energy in you. The energy is off. And I'm like, dude, what are you, witchcraft? How did you know? You know, and so in recovery, we can't hide it anymore. And so the equine therapy really taught me that. And then the lady who runs it is unbelievable.
Yeah,
I mean,
Shriver.
yeah, it's amazing what she does. And then the trauma therapy, I call it the clay balls.
Oh,
yeah,
anger management.
Anger management, yes, anger management. Walk me through that.
Yeah, so that design behind that is to feel that emotion and to actually process it through actually throwing a ball of clay at a wall.
Right.
With the assistance of a clinician, talking them through that particular process. It's for some folks, too, that aren't even in touch with their own anger. You'll have some people that come up and they don't think that they're angry about anything until they start the process, and then they start to express that anger, which is actually very healthy to get it out. Let's get it out.
I watched it. I sat in one of the sessions, and I watched a client, the great John Edmondson. I mean, what a blessing he is for Healing Springs Ranch, Director of Wellness.
He is.
And he talks about mindfulness, and he has helped me so much. And, you know, I watched him work with clients in this anger management, and it was beautiful to see this person with the clay throwing it at this wall, and it was kind of like, it was fake. And then he would dig into him and he said, now listen, I want you to take some risk, and I want you to really get out there and get it. And man, the energy, you're talking about energy, totally changed, and the relief that this person was getting, to the point it brought tears to my eyes to see this person healing and getting it out. It was almost like literally the bubble popping, you know, and that was a beautiful thing to watch. Not only that, it created connection in the community because when they saw this person do this, take that risk, follow the lead of John, then they jumped right in and did the same thing. They go, man, I want some of that.
Yeah.
I want some of that relief.
Exactly.
And
it's amazing. to watch.
Amazing. And then we have art therapy.
Art therapy. Yep,
And-
and we do all kinds of different things. I
Yeah.
mean, we have psychodrama that we do.
And what is psychodrama?
So that's where you enact a particular scene, and so the individual gets to pick different people from the community to play different roles, and they act out a piece, something that seems to be bothering them, or something that they need to process or deal with. And so it's another form of providing relief and understanding. You know, too often when people come to us, they've suppressed the emotions. So you almost have to teach folks, these are the emotions you're feeling. These are the healthy emotions. Here's too much of it. Here's too little of it. And then how that manifests into psychiatric diagnoses and to physiological issues. You know, people talk about fibromyalgia. You know, sometimes that's directly related to some other emotional issues that are going on. It's a real thing, but it's the direct result. I mean, it's going to come out somehow. You think about it. If you're not processing stuff, you can end up with GI issues, you know? So it's going to come out one way or the other.
Sure
and you
is.
can only suppress, as you know, for so long.
Yes.
And then it's going to come out oftentimes in destructive ways if you don't learn that. But when you're learning a new skill, and unless you grew up in a family that was so emotionally healthy and could articulate what each emotion was, and you learned to understand that, which doesn't happen to many of us.
Yeah.
Unless that happened, most of us have to learn these feelings. And I heard an analogy or metaphor the other day that I thought was brilliant. So she was talking about if you have a burn on your hand and you put a Band-Aid on it, okay? You treat it, you take care of it, you put a Band-Aid on, it's going to heal. And you might have a scar, but it's going to heal. But if you take that same wound and you put some duct tape on it because you don't want to deal with it,
Right.
it can't get the necessary oxygen. It doesn't have the medicine to be able to remove the bacteria from it. And so it might become necrotic, and it starts eating away the good tissue. And pretty soon you have a bigger wound than you started with,
Right.
and you're going to have a much bigger scar.
Right.
You know, so the idea is don't duct tape your problems. I'm going to say that again. Don't duct tape your problems.
Hashtag no duct tape.
Yes. Yes. Let's bandage it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a really good way to explain that. And so if you don't have the skills to know I need to put a Band-Aid on it and I need to put Neosporin or whatever it is, and you may only have duct tape and you do that, that may be your only mechanism to do that with, and it's not going to work in the long run.
And does Healing Springs Ranch, and I know the answer to this, but we don't, do we offer a detox?
We do not.
Okay.
We actually work with facilities
Okay.
To do the detox. We'll actually work with the individual too in their home city if they need a detox there before they can transport. We do sober transport. So it actually, by the time they come to us, they're still feeling symptomology, and a detox takes a while.
Right.
You know, but they're at a point where they're past some of the rougher parts of it, and they can actually participate and get engaged in the community and some of the activities we're doing.
Rachel Graham, owner of Healing Springs Ranch, live in studio, and we are going to South Carolina this Friday, and it's going to be lit. It's going to be Rachel Stacy, Rachel Graham, Melissa, Chris, John Edmondson. We're going to have cameras. We're going to be going live. We're going to be running B-roll. We're going to create this great video that we'll be posting everywhere once we get back, and it's going to be off the chain. You're going to be doing your TED Talk, sharing your experience, strength, and hope. I love the topic. I love the topic that you're going to be talking to the loved ones, because so many times the loved one says, hey, here's Michael, fix him. Fix him. Here he is. Keep him as long as you want, but don't let him go until he's fixed. I'm going to go back home and I'm going to stew in my resentment. So when he comes out, and I'm going to control him when he comes out, and that is a disaster.
It is.
It's an absolute disaster because it's a family disease. And guess what? Recovery is family also.
Yeah.
And that's the side that you speak on.
And a family can come back much stronger.
Yes.
As a whole family nucleus. I mean, just come back in a very, in a much more amazing place, in a transformative place.
Right.
And one of the things for the family members that they may not realize is the benefit of forgiveness. It's a gift you give yourself when you can forgive someone else. It doesn't mean that you're going to forget, but when you can forgive someone else, that untethers you from the story.
Right,
You know?
right.
And you're no longer giving it power.
Right.
You know, and you can learn to love your new loved one coming back, new and improved.
That's right.
That's something that is overlooked too in this industry. And I've had friends say this to me. My friend went to treatment. I lost my best friend, and I gained someone new that I'm having to get to know and create new behaviors with. We
Yeah.
can't do the stuff we used to do. So we have to find new activities, but it's a loss. So the family sometimes has to grieve the loss of some of the traits and behaviors that were going on, but then welcome and embrace the amazing new stuff that's coming.
Yes, I got a message on M2TheRock today, and I'll throw this. This is a great question. We had a follower and a listener of M2TheRock message us today, and he says, "I've been sober 20 days." Awesome. Congratulations. That's a long time with no alcohol. That's a real deal. And 20 days. But he says, my wife is getting very frustrated and upset that I'm going to these support group meetings every single night. Is this normal? What do I do? How would you answer that question to him?
So I will tell you that I think too often, and this is why I have passion about the family, is because the family doesn't know how they can help. And they don't understand the importance that recovery is going to be the highest priority. You know, and recovery is important for all of them. So the thing that I want these families to understand is that to be in a supportive role means to allow them the space to work their program,
Right.
to be an advocate, to help them if they start to drift off of the program, to be supportive, not punitive, supportive. There's a difference there.
What's the difference?
You know, punitive is you didn't get to that meeting and look, you're going to fall off the wagon, instead of support. Honey, how can I support you, you know, to get you the meeting? Do you need a ride? What do we need to do? Do I need to take the kids so you can go do that? Whatever I need to do.
Right.
And so the families need education. Too often the family is left behind. I know that was the case in my situation.
Right.
You know, my loved one went to treatment. I didn't really get any kind of help or communication even.
How'd that work out?
Yeah, it was a train wreck.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's very painful.
It was a train wreck. And so it wasn't until we went to outpatient together and we started working together on a more routine basis that I started getting educated in what addiction is and what it's not, and really understanding and not taking responsibility for his behavior, but finding ways that I can support and encourage.
And you got connected.
Yeah.
You got connected with a group of women that could relate, and
Right.
y'all work together. That you could stay in your lane and work on you.
Yeah.
Work on you. And speaking of that, so you send Michael to treatment. You send Michael to Healing Springs Ranch. Are you saying y'all offer a program for the family?
We do. We involve the family, and we want the family to get involved. We want them to get involved from day one.
Right.
Not wait until we've had your loved one for 60 days, then we'll talk to you about it. You know, and assuming that, or I guess the assumption is that they're safe for that person to be in treatment with. There are
Right.
times that it's not a safe environment for them. But if the family's safe and we want to repair the relationships, then let's get them involved. And the more ownership and that we can give them, and teaching them and supporting them, because they have a process to go through too. You know, one of the things I got really upset about in this process is I went to support groups and I got labeled as a this or that or whatever, and it didn't resonate for me. It was not helping me. You know, I was going through debilitating anxiety, and I needed someone that understood why. And it wasn't until I met this amazing therapist that said to me, "You're having a PTSD response."
Right.
We
That's
need
real.
we need to zero in on the PTSD and not worry about labeling you with all this other stuff. The minute I started that, it's like, I mean, it opened up a world of possibilities for me that has been incredible ever since.
And what's amazing, what I love about your energy is that once you got the solution to your trauma, okay, you found out what your purpose is and what I call it a spiritual gift. You found out what your spiritual gift is, and that is to go spread the message to others saying, listen, this is what's working for me. I've got a solution. And Rachel Graham travels the country spreading the message of hope, not spreading the disease, but spreading the solution on for the family.
And sharing in a vulnerable way.
Yes.
I mean, sharing kind of my journey. It was messy too. And this is what I would tell people that are struggling, that have family members that want to get involved, is be patient with them too. They don't even know where to start.
Right.
They first need to learn about you, and they're concerned about your safety and welfare. So when they take you to treatment, they want to make sure you're safe.
Right.
Then we need to open the door to give them permission to do the work they need to do, and then to do the work together. So you do work independently, and then you do work together.
That's right. Well, I tomorrow when I wake up, I'm going to brew up a pot of coffee. Okay. And then I'm going to start this training seminar. And then I'm also going to be attending a CPR class that I'm really excited about because I've been instructed in my mind that I will perform mouth-to-mouth training on Rachel Stacey 10 times a day for my CPR certification.
Oh, you're going to get all kinds of comments now.
That's not happening. But why don't we announce, why am I doing training tomorrow, intensive training for Healing Springs Ranch starting tomorrow?
I am so thrilled to tell all of you that he is joining our team full time.
Whoa! I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And why? Why do you? We just ran a commercial, Rachel, and they just showed all my mugshots. 4-time felon. You know why? Why do you want me? I mean, why?
You know, you're walking, you're talking, you're doing everything. You're a model citizen in the way that you work with the clients, the way that you communicate your recovery, you're open about it. One of the things that I admire, and I think this is your superpower, if we could have each have a superpower, is your ability to connect. You're connecting here, you're connecting there, you know, and it's impressive the way you do that. And people can relate to that. And people feel safe and comfortable opening up. So, you know, our goal at Healing Springs is, you know, none of us are perfect. We all have our stories. We all have, you know, some not so pretty things in our past and whatnot. But it's about bringing people that have been there, done that, and understand and can relate. That's part of connection, is when you can relate to someone.
And that's what's so powerful. You know, I've done so many media and radio appearances, and I'll never forget that a lot of them. I was doing ESPN radio last year, and this guy in Champaign, Illinois, he goes, Michael, let me ask you something. Is there a cure for addiction? You know, and I said, unfortunately, there's not, but there is a solution. There is a very powerful solution for addiction. He goes, what is that? And I said, there's nothing more powerful than one alcoholic working with another. There's nothing more powerful than one drug addict working with another. And that is the connection that I just live for. I love coming to Healing Springs Ranch, being a part of the community, being a part of these men and women they're scared to death. They're fighting the shame, the guilt, the remorse, the fear, the anxiety, the paranoia, and we are when I'm lonely, Rachel, my solution is I want to isolate. You know what I mean? And when I'm depressed, my solution is I want to drink, which is a depressant, and this cycle. So when I sit there and I provide hope, and I love when I'm in group at Healing Springs Ranch when I start seeing this. You ready? This.
Right.
When I start seeing them do that and I'm sharing my story, there is that connection. That's that connection when they go, that he's telling my story.
You get it.
Right. And it took a long time. I'm a very stubborn person, and it took me a long time to put that sword down. And I love when the clients come in, we can get the most stubborn one. They can't run game on me. You know what I mean? And they cannot run game on me because I get it. I know where they're at, you know, and there's 3 guarantees to get clean and sober. That's through jails, institutions, or death, is what the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous is. You know, I don't represent Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's a great book. You know, I highly suggest it. You can buy it at any bookstore, and it's the first 164 pages talks about this disease. And if you're not an alcoholic, you're a drug addict or gambling and all that, just change the word alcohol and put whatever your drug of choice is. And so I'm honored. I have, it's emotional, you know, when John Edmondson called the other morning and he says, hey, get Rachel Stacey, get on speakerphone. And we put it on speakerphone, and he shared this beautiful, it was life-changing. But because behind the scenes, we've just, for the last 2 years, just been maintaining, you know, day to day, and you've changed my life. And I'm so excited to be a part of this.
As you have ours and our clients, you know. It takes a village.
Yeah.
And, you know, we need different skill sets that can reach people at different times and different places,
Right.
you know?
And we'll have Rachel Stacy coming out and singing to the clients and singing the song.
They always love it when she comes.
She comes out there and sings Godspeed. And got so many great, exciting things. M2TheRock and Healing Springs together. And I am honored as a full-time employee of Healing Springs Ranch.
Yes.
And I'm going to clock in, clock out, and start my training tomorrow. And I am so excited to be a part of your team to spread the hope. So we leave Friday, don't we?
We do. This is going to be interesting. What a motley bunch of us. There's 7 of us.
Seven us
there's
going.
one that's showing moral support, and we're picking up 2 more in South Carolina. So
Yeah, so it's going to be.
for me, it'll be helpful. You know, the worst thing you do is talk to an audience you can't connect with anyone out there. So it'll be nice to have you all, but don't make googly faces at me.
Oh, I'm not.
I'm
So,
nervous.
don't be nervous. It's going to be, the neat thing is you're surrounding yourself just with Rachel and I. This is what we do for a living. So you're a great talent. You're gifted. You got no problems. You're going to get up there and just rip.
Thank
I mean,
you.
it's going to be awesome.
Because I'm passionate about it. It's my purpose and calling.
Right. So that's funny because if I had to get up there and speak about constant level lakes, okay, I'm going to read off a piece of paper,
Quantum physics?
Yeah. The Corps of Engineers says the constant level lake, it's going to be boring. We're all going to fall asleep. But man, you want to talk about drugs, alcohol, resentments, and all this stuff, and prison and all the things that happen. Man, I get so excited.
Yeah.
I get so excited and passionate about it. Well, we're going to be leaving tomorrow night. Rachel Stacy will be in studio, so we'll be talking a lot about the family afterwards. We talk a lot about, this is cool. Y'all don't want to tune in tomorrow night, relationships in recovery. Okay,
Nice.
Relationships and recovery. I talked to a lot of the clients at the facility. Is that the common denominator that gets us rock bottom is relationships and resentments. Relationships and resentments, and they say, why can't I get in a relationship? M2, what do you? And I suggest to them, because I suggest things. Hey, take a year off, work the steps, get to know your higher power, get to know yourself, and get to know why you have resentments, get tools on how to process fear, and then you will become an incredible, incredible partner for someone because we jump right into a relationship and they become our drug of choice.
Yeah. And you want to be the best version of yourself to enter into a relationship. And it takes time. It takes time too, family members. If you're coming out of a divorce situation or whatever, the family needs to do the work too to be the best version of themselves.
Before I forget, foundation. We have a foundation that we want to talk about. You want to tease it?
Yeah, we're actually, we have a new intensive group that we're doing, a program that we're doing through another company called LifeWorks Wellness. And then we've started a foundation to do research, LifeWorks Foundation. So we're trying to advance the ball. Like I said, I came into this role not wanting to do what everyone else has been doing, but to be a force for change and to be a change agent, to rattle some cages, probably make a few people mad. But that's okay. I want to see change in this industry because this industry did a disservice to me and my family when we went through, and I don't want to see another family crippled by some bad choices of just a few people.
Right.
So the industry needs to change. So that's what we're going to do. So you'll hear more about these intensive programs that are not just surrounding addiction. It could be on any topic. It could be on depression, anxiety, grief and loss, finding meaning and purpose, leadership development. It'd be all kinds of different things, programs, and then have the foundation to be able to look at ways that we can start setting the bar higher for this industry. Because as you know, when you ask, well, what's your recidivism rate? Well, okay, there's a lot of caveats to that.
Yeah.
And so what we would like to do is figure out ways that we can show how other modalities taken from other parts of the mental health industry can help in this particular field. We're actually using some stuff that was initially used in the autism area.
Wow.
So there's things like that we'd like to do in research to help propel this industry. So it's going to take a lot of effort by a lot of people, but we've got, as you know, a talented team, and you're now joining that talent.
I'm really excited about the foundation. And there's so much that we're working on that we can't talk about yet, but so many, nothing but upside. And my business background, I'll never forget this. I want to share a story with you. When I was incarcerated this last time, my brain is just always moving. Okay. And I used to always, work my business like ROI, which is return on investment, right? And then I would do ROE, return on equity. And then I was I would talk about ROS, return on sweat equity. Can I get a return on putting sweat equity in it? But it's amazing that today in recovery, it's ROP. I'm getting a return on my pain.
Yeah.
I'm getting a return on my pain by providing solutions to the pain and trauma is what I love so much about you and Melissa and John, how y'all address that. Real quick, it got ETT.
Yeah.
We got the ETT therapy.
So we have that going on. We have EMDR. We have all kinds of
That's
different
amazing.
stuff. And, we have other things that we want to add, and hopefully as we engage the foundation, there's things that, because we want to be a leader in looking at ways that we can, because what works for you might not work for me.
That's right.
Which is why we bring different programs in. We have AA, Smart Recovery, Celebrate Recovery. We bring different programs in to meet the people where they are.
That's exactly right. But the common denominator in all the programs is this: honesty. Once we get honest and admit that we have a problem and we put the hand out and say help, it's awesome.
But in order to be honest, what do you need? Safety.
I need safety. That's exactly
safety.
right. And we need to feel safe, and that's what Healing Springs offers. I'm so excited. I mean, I just get really fired up, and I'm awake now.
Yeah.
I'm awake now. I got home at 3:00 last night. I was texting you. Rachel was in concert, so I tell you what, we'll be back tomorrow night. And yes, thank you, Tamiko. It's going to be Rebecca Sawyer and Judge Jennifer Bennett Thursday. You got to see this. Judge Jennifer Bennett is very interested in what Healing Springs is doing, and John Edmondson, and she is a huge part of the recovery. So she'll be in studio. We're going to be talking about the drug courts in Dallas. By the way, I'll be speaking at the Dallas County Drug Courthouse next week when we get
Very
back
nice.
from the South Carolina. So I'll be speaking at one of the courts. So is one of I'll be in there speaking. So I tell you what, I got 3 words. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm so excited, and what a great night. I got 3 words. I got 8 letters, and it's one meaning, and that is I love you. And we're gonna end with Miss Rachel Stacy, her official video. Moon Turns In, and tomorrow night she'll share the story about writing this song. It has a lot to do with recovery. Y'all make it a good night.
Good night.
Your dirty don't work. You face down in love again. Your message is off, and all I can say is I've been there, my friend. To feel alive ain't been enough. Lonely ride with no end. Time in on my side. Daytime.